Hey guys, Novaexplosion, and welcome to Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance. That is a really cool, I love this title screen by the way. But yeah, we're here. It was inevitable. Of course I was gonna play this game. You know, SMT is a great franchise. I really like the SMT games. And there was a bit of a spark after I played SMT 4. Like, I knew Vengeance was coming out, and I played SMT 4 knowing Vengeance was coming out, and there was a bit of a spark. I didn't really, like, SMT 4 was a good game. It had some problems, but it was a good enough game. Like, it was fun. It was still SMT. There was something of a spark inside of me that kind of made me want to pick up SMT again. And what better SMT game to play for the summer than Vengeance? Because, you know, it just released. So yeah, I'm a month late to this game. I actually bought this game on release. I had the copy of the game on release, and I started, as you can see here, I did start playing the game. Here's Elk. I started playing the Canon of Creation again. The original thing I was going to do, I won't make this too long, I promise, but I need to say all this. I was originally going to play Canon of Creation again to get a refresher on the story, and then NG Plus into the Canon of Vengeance, because that's how Vengeance works. But I realized two things. One, well, a couple of things happened. One, unfortunate turn of events, I ran out of free time. Two, SMT 5 is a long game. 3, I just couldn't wait any longer. So that's why this file isn't finished yet, but I'm going to have to get the platinum anyway, so that file is going to be my Canon of Creation file. But yeah, SMT Vengeance, you know, I really like SMT 5. SMT 5 it's one of the best games of 2021. Probably like my second, what else came out in 2021? My game of the year is definitely Tales of Arise, because it's Tales of. But it was my second favorite game of 2021, unless I'm forgetting another game that came out in 2021. But I really liked SMT 5. I thought it was a really fun game, and it gets a little bit of unnecessary hate with the story, which I understand. The story's not great, which, you know, SMT's never known for story, but SMT 5's endgame was incredibly lackluster, which, you know, it gets a little, I think it gets a lot of flack mostly for that reason. But everything else about SMT 5 is fantastic, and to hear that they're making, like, basically the Persona 5 Royal treatment of making the game even better is, like, it's insane to me. And I know nothing about the Vengeance path, but I've only been hearing good things. So we're gonna play, basically. We're gonna new game it up. Difficulty of the game, influence the game's battles, story will be unaffected. Change the difficulty anytime from the options menu. We are playing on normal. You could change this anyway. We're gonna play on, maybe we'll play on hard. We'll see how it goes. I think SMT 5 is like, for SMT standards, it's like one of the easier games. It's not as easy as, I think 4 was easier though, but like, I think 5's like early game is pretty balanced, and it kind of like doesn't really get like crazy difficult while also not being a breeze. If I remember right. But yeah, we're gonna play on normal, we're gonna see how that goes. But yeah, SMT 5, I haven't, outside of the save file you saw on this game, I haven't played the game since it released back in 2021, and I played like 13 hours of Vengeance already, so I already know about all the quality of life improvements, but everything about the Canon of Vengeance is new, so no spoilers in the story stuff. Gameplay stuff, like, I know everything. Work of fiction, any names or character, businesses, incidents are fictitious. Any resemblance to actual people living or dead, actual, purely coincidental. Yeah. I can't read today, apparently. But yeah, we're gonna play Vengeance. I'm very excited. I'm looking forward to this. When I contemplate the brevity of a man's life, I'm indifferent to worldly things. How many are the days I spend in thought? The Manyoshu. I am very excited. So excited. The only reason I played like 13 hours of the game on my own time was because I was so excited. It was a way to quench my excitement. That was the way I coped. I started like the Canon of Creation path to cope and quench my excitement for a bit. But now we're finally here. We're gonna play the Vengeance path. Don't interrupt me.
The world of order was created by God.
Who do you think you are, random
and his
voice?
servants, the angels, led it on its proper course. It was in such a world that countless mortals led happy, fruitful, and prosperous lives by his grace.
However, even God's world is not eternal. The pure, unsullied path that God had forged will, as fate dictates, become a muddled, poisonous swamp at the hands of humankind.
Oh my word. That was not the best way to swallow my lemonade.
Disrupted order begets chaos, and chaos will likewise be consumed by order in turn.
How will these keepers of knowledge strive and perish during their final futile hours in this doomed world?
Let us watch them at our leisure until the new ruler is seated upon the throne.
Man, I remember being super excited, like booting this game up in 2021. I still remember
What
those,
is
like,
this? A passing soul?
oh, hello.
This is a path linked to the future. The choices you make will affect the very course of the world.
I mean, that's just par for the course for SMT. Alright, so this is the first major thing in Vengeance. This determines what route you will take, basically. This obviously didn't happen in the original game.
Stay your hand now. The soul of that girl cannot be permitted to exist.
By her very nature, she will lead the world into chaos and ruin. She must remain sealed here for all eternity.
To take the girl from this place will lead not to the future destined for this world, but to a world yet unknown.
Knowing only this, will you still take her hand?
Yeah, so not taking her hand follows the story route of the original game. So when I started my, first file when I first bought the game, I didn't take her hand. Not taking her hand is the Canon of Creation, which is basically the original route. So we're gonna take her hand this time, and officially, obviously I played SMT 5, so I'll know things. But everything Vengeance related, I know nothing about. I obviously know stuff, about being on the internet. I haven't watched, much of the trailers. I know about, the new girl. I know the human characters are, party members. But those are all, so minimal. I know basically nothing. So let's take her hand and see what happens. After Endeku, welcome to stream. This is where the flood of people start to come to chat, because I know a good amount of people enjoy watching SMT games.
Thank you.
Yeah, don't mention it.
Foolish soul. Do not forget that with a simple gesture, your decision has hastened the end of the world.
You
We
foolish
can
voice.
only pray that you return to the proper path.
Stop interrupting
That
me.
you find your way again.
You think I'm scared of the end of the world, you foolish souls? Yeah, it even tells you here, it gives you a warning just in case you didn't realize. In Shin Megami Tensei V Vengeance, how the narrative plays out is largely determined whether you take the girl's hand or not near the beginning of the game. Canon of Creation's original story, the Shin Megami Tensei V. Canon of Vengeance is newly added story. Obviously, we're doing the Vengeance storyline. Yeah, it even reminds you here. But yeah, this is the one I want to go with. Thought Base 5 was okay. Definitely bare bones in the story. Yeah, the thing is, SMT 5, people, SMT 5's, main criticism is its story. And you might be thinking, oh, Nova, SMT's not known for story. The thing is, SMT 5, here's my opinion if you don't want to go watch my review, which was from, 3 years ago. The first half of SMT 5, has some promising lore. I think the end game, really falls flat. My opinion of the story of the original game, obviously, I thought the first half was very promising. I think the second half, kind of falls flat. Obviously, it still has great lore, but I think my issue is it didn't have a good landing. The climax is kind of where it fumbled. I was, invested in the first, 2 areas of the game, And then, like, as, like, the climax stuff started happening, like, it just didn't have a strong finish. But overall, I still really enjoyed SMT 5. Like, that was, like, my only real issue with the game. I think everything gameplay-wise, everything, like, lore-wise, because SMT is known for good lore, is pretty good. This was, like, the second best game I played in 2021. So, like, I still really loved it, even with my story complaints. That was my opinion of the story, and I'm hoping Vengeance, like, fixes my issues, because I've heard nothing but good things. I'm still not expecting, like, anything, like, super, super great, like, you know, something like best story of all time, but I'm expecting at least, like, good story, like, a good enough story, because even Nocturne and 4 have some good story stuff. Like, as much as I love SMT 5, I think Nocturne and 4 do their stories better, personally. Especially their climaxes, because SMT 5 fumbles with the climax, I feel. But anyway, let's start Vengeance. Sorry for rambling, but I just had to get my thoughts out.
All right, listen up. Everyone should have their own personal tablets now, but it sounds like some of you still need to get them registered. Those temp accounts are about to expire. So anyone who's been putting it off, better get on that.
Is that Zephyr's voice from Tales of Arise? Also Endeavor from My Hero Academia? Pretty sure it's him. Oh, here we go, the naming convention. I don't think you have a canon name. I think in my original playthrough I named you after Dohalim because I was playing Tales of Arise at the time, or I had just finished Tales of Arise, because this game came out like a month or two after. What do we want to do here? I don't want to name you after a Tales of character again. I could do like Ashley Winchester from Wild Arms 2. I could do like Jet from Wild Arms 3. Whoop, that's not what I meant to do. How did we go back? Square? I can name you after like a Dragon Quest character. I did Elk already in my Canon of Creation playthrough, what I'm doing right now. Let's name you after Angelo from Dragon Quest VIII. Angelo's cool. For the last name, I'm just gonna go with my standard Kudogane. Let's do it.
One other thing. It's been getting pretty dangerous out there. Remember the buddy system. Go back to the dorm in groups.
But I hate people.
That's it for homeroom.
Thank you, sir.
Or people say the Lamu arc was not great, but that was probably my favorite. Yeah, like when I think of SMT 5, students were advised to head home in groups. You should look for a classmate to walk with. I'll probably skim through this because, you know, people might be watching this for the first time. Minimap is displayed in the lower left corner and gives you information on your surroundings. That means you could speak to someone, yada yada. Saving, right, you could save anywhere in this version, which is very SMT 4. There we go. Anyway, what was I saying? When I think of SMT 5, the early game story tends to have more of the memorable moments to me. Like, I remember more, like, I feel like the first half was genuinely, like, it was nothing outstanding, but I think it was genuinely pretty good. The first half of the game, and very promising. Promising lore, promising events, promising story. So, the Lamu arc was early in the game, so I think that was probably one of the best parts. I think it's the second half, or maybe, like, the last 30% of the game, that starts to, like, fumble a little bit, to my memory. We'll get more into that as I play the game, and I'll start to talk about it as I see the Vengeance storyline.
Hey!
Oh, speaking of all this scary stuff, I heard the first year got attacked near the station. Apparently the shadow came right at her.
Huh?
A shadow? What do you mean?
Well...
I mean, that's how she described it. She said some kind of black fog tore her bag up. And then apparently some girl wearing a St. Marina high uniform saved her. No way, that sounds like something out of an anime. Oh, an anime. These students are too busy talking. Doesn't seem like you could walk home with them. Alright, cool. I remember booting up SMT 5 and I saw like all the characters and it got me really excited. Like, oh, I hope this SMT game's like... Because again, I liked Nocturne enough to keep playing the series. This was my second SMT game. And
Hey
Nocturne's story, like, I think Nocturne was kind of the opposite. I think Nocturne's beginning was like fine, but it got better as the game went on with all the lore and ideologies. You wanna know who I think the biggest name at this school is? It's gotta be Yuzuru. Yuzuru Asuta, right? The honor student from Class B. I guess he's the best we got in academics, yeah? But in terms of girls, it'd be Tayo Isanokami, right? She's smart, a great athlete, nice, she's got it all.
Hey!
Hey, I'm smart, I'm athletic, I'm nice. So, like, Nocturne was, like, good enough for me to be like, oh, you know, like, SMT, like, has good enough stories on average. I think saying SMT's stories are bad is a misconception. I think saying they're not known for stories is not saying they're bad. Just, like, their stories are more about, like, ideologies and other stuff. They go for a different thing than, like, Tales of, Final Fantasy games and other story-driven games.
Hey.
Like, what they set out to do, even compared to other SMT games, 5 was lacking. So it wasn't the excuse of, like, oh, SMT is just not known for story. But, like, 5 as opposed to the other games, and I hadn't played 4 at the time, but now I played 4. I still like 5 more than... I like 5 more than 3 and 4, I should be very clear about that, but I'm willing to admit that 3 and 4 do better with their stories, especially their endings and climaxes and reasonings. Hey, saw you talking to that geek from the next class over. What was his name? Ichiro Dazai?
Yeah.
Dazai, yeah? I guess he's making videos, trying to put together this web series. Ask me about that slasher incident at the tunnel. Alright, that stuff about some invisible guy with a knife makes you wonder what the real story is. Yeah, seemed like that was Dazai's point. Say he's gonna solve the mystery of the slasher in the tunnel, really hyping himself up, you know. Sometimes a objective marker will appear on the minimap. Objective marker indicates where you should go next. Reaching this marker will advance the main story. Yeah.
Everything all right?
Huh? You wanna walk home together? Going home in groups sounds like a right pain in the ass. I'm just gonna go it alone. If you can't find anyone else, maybe you should do the same. I guess I have no choice. Student went home by himself. He decided to go home as well.
Hey, you heading back alone?
Yuzuru Asuta.
You heard that talk about it being safer to go home in groups, right? You should walk with us.
Chat, who does Yuzuru's voice? I swear I've heard it before. It probably was no one I could relate to at the time when I played this game 3 years ago, whenever it came out. 5 is the better setup with world and lore. Nocturne does better with ending and reasons. Yes, I agree with that, actually. Like, again, 5's like early game isn't anything spectacular. It has really good setup and makes you hyped for what can come, but it just, like, it doesn't live up to that hype, unfortunately. The setup and lore is pretty good in SMT 5, and it had me excited, which is why I like the first half a lot more than the second half, or maybe it's like the first 60%, I don't really know. Anyway, yeah, I'll walk with you guys.
Oh! Hey, you two! Over here!
The game feels very loud, but we'll wait until we get to battle, and I'm pretty sure this game has audio sliders.
Oh, hi there.
I didn't know you knew him, Miyazu.
I mean, not really.
They've met in passing. I think Miyazu and I ran into him a couple times.
Yeah, Tao. Something like that.
Aw, you're lucky your big brother looks out for you so much, huh?
I guess.
We're the only family we've got. I don't think it's that strange to look out for my little sister.
Sure. So, how about we all walk home together?
It's Raymond from Divine Force. Yeah, that makes so much sense. I definitely hear it. I played Divine Force again like 2 months ago. Angelo attends Joe in high school. He also voices Sedith. That's interesting. Haven't played Three Houses in a hot minute. Not too far from there, he lives at the Joe in high school dormitory along with the other students. In the commute to and from school, the shortest route is to pass through the connecting passageway at Shinagawa Station. The quickest way to get back to the dorm will be to head to Shinagawa Station West exit. Talk to some people real quick. This place has been getting so dangerous. I could talk. This tunnel makes my skin crawl and the ceiling's real low too. Where you going? The station's this way. Alright, Yuzuru. Way to gatekeep, brother. A lot of weird stuff's been going on lately. Suicide rate going up, random assaults across the city happening at the same time. People online say it's because of monsters in the city. As if the whole thing wasn't surreal enough, blaming it on monsters. I'd laugh about it if I could. Ha 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 ha.